The reenactments and commentary in this program may contain frank talk of a sexual nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
A prison or a playground, affection or seduction, and what was served in the wine cellar. The jurors get loads of information to consider. Hello and welcome to the Michael Jackson trial and E! News presentation. I'm James Curtis. LaToya Jackson's arrival at the courthouse in support of her brother makes this a tale of two sisters, doesn't it? The accused and the accusers. Day 5, as the accuser's 18-year-old sister returns to the witness stand, Prosecutor Tom Sneddon begins by asking her about an incident she says left her terrified and confused. According to the courtroom transcripts, here's how it happened.
Did anything happen to you within a few days of leaving the ranch with regard to your comings and goings at school?
Yes.
Would you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what happened?
I was walking home from school because my school, the Mountain View High School, is only a few blocks from my grandmother's house. And about the block right before I got to my grandmother's house, a black car pulled up to me, and it was one of Mr. Jackson's bodyguards. He tried to ask me how...
Objection. Hearsay.
Offered for the same purpose, Your Honor.
Accepted conditionally.
He said, "Oh, how are you doing?" He was fidgeting a lot, like under the car. I couldn't see what was going on. I just really trying to get really quick, and I said, I gotta go, and I just, walked really fast to my grandmother's gate, and when I was closing the gate, I looked back, and he was videotaping me.
Later on in that same testimony, this witness tells jurors she saw Jackson being extremely affectionate with her 13-year-old brother.
Did you ever see anything with regard to the defendant in this case, Mr. Jackson, touching your brother Gavin in an inappropriate way?
Objection. Leading. Move to strike.
Overruled. You may answer.
He would constantly
Just yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, now, where was that when you saw it?
Well, he would be constantly hugging Gavin and kissing him, so anytime I saw them, really.
Now, when you say hugging and kissing, what do you mean by kissing?
On the cheek or on the head.
Did you, were there any other occasions that you remember that you saw things that you thought were inappropriate?
Objection. Leading.
It's overruled. You may answer.
Well, when I was in the bedroom that one time.
What did you see on that occasion?
Well, he had his arm, and Gavin was laying on his arm like this. And they were just hugging over and over, and he just was kissing him over and over on his head. And
all right. Thank you very much.
And on that, let's say hello to our panel, Sean Chapman-Holly, Howard Weitzman, and Ricky Kleeman. This was a rough day, folks, for the prosecutor, and I think I put that lightly, or mildly, rather. Let's start off with the harder discussion. Is there anything good out of this testimony for the prosecutors?
Well, there's always a direct and there's a cross. And in the direct, of course, that she really tells a story of inappropriate, though not criminal, behavior on the part of Michael Jackson. We have to remember she's setting a stage for her two brothers to take the stand.
Now, the idea that, and we'll hear this later on, we haven't gotten into it yet, Howard, I can see your mind just turning, the wheels going mad. The idea that later on in the testimony it gets real hard for this witness, but so far she's holding her own.
Well, first of all, when you use the word inappropriate, it signals something wrong. Her testimony doesn't describe anything wrong. The judge, again, in my opinion, is helping the district attorney's office by overruling Mr. Mesereau's objection. Clearly appropriate, leading and suggestive. What Mr. Sneddon should have asked is, what did you see? What happened? What did you observe?
But you know, Sean, when you have especially young people, although this young lady is 18, maybe she's a young 18, sometimes, and maybe it was just simply a choice of a bad term, inappropriate, didn't really trigger in her mind what the attorney was getting at. And you can lead a witness when they're having trouble sometimes.
And the fact is, there's really not even anything inappropriate here necessarily. We have to remember that this boy is a cancer patient. He's sick. There could be some genuine affection being shown between Michael Jackson and this young...
And that's the real question,
It
isn't it,
sounds
Ricky?
like a lot of kissing to me. I mean, he's kissing his cheek. He has his arm around him. He's kissing his head. Then, of course, we can't forget the rest of the testimony, that he did take the youngster into a bedroom in the hotel in Florida on a few occasions. He did give the youngster wine.
When you combine those two.
There is behavior that's inappropriate.
But, Howard, I mean, I'm an affectionate guy. I don't know if I've hugged you yet, but
Not
I'm an
yet.
affectionate guy. I hug my son all the time. I kiss him as well as my daughters. Couldn't it simply be that kind of affection that Ricky alluded to initially?
That's how Michael conducts himself. You see him do it on television. The use of the word inappropriate was more for the jury. Sneddon wanted to get an idea across. It almost didn't matter what the young lady's response was.
Certainly, it triggered in my mind when I read it that term inappropriate just raises flags in your mind. Now,
the judge let it.
Absolutely. It's the defense turn now, though. Tom Mesereau goes on the attack, and Howard's happy about that. His goal, that is the defense attorney, is to show that this teenager can't be trusted to tell the truth.
Do you remember in your meeting with the social worker saying that you often take a girlfriend with you to Neverland to keep you company?
No, no one ever went with me at Neverland.
Would it refresh your recollection if I show you the social worker's report?
Well, I know I said that, but that's not true.
But you did say that
Yeah.
to the 3 social workers from the Los Angeles Department of Children and Family Services.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you also told them that you denied that your mother, Janet, had ever neglected you, right?
My mom never neglected us.
But my question is, you told the 3 social workers that your mother had never neglected you, right?
Yes.
And you told the social workers your mother always knows what's going on when she's at Neverland with us, right?
Yeah.
You told them that.
Yeah.
Was that true?
No.
That was a lie?
Yeah.
And you're telling us today that when you told those 3 social workers that you'd bring a girlfriend with you to keep you company at Neverland, that was a lie, right?
Yeah. There was no one to take in the first place.
You told those social workers Michael is like a father to all of us, right?
Yeah.
You told the social workers Michael is so kind and loving, right?
I don't remember a lot of things I said. It was a really long time ago.
Now, that refrain, folks, we're going to hear later on, but is it game over now? She's admitted to lying.
Well, she does admit to lying, and maybe it's better that she admits to lying because she can't get out of the fact that she lied. So put it out there and just say, okay, I lied, I'm sorry, I'm moving on. I'm telling the truth now.
I mean, here's my favorite testimony. Well, I know I said that, but that's not true.
Right.
It becomes a familiar refrain. She's lied about what happened at Neverland. As we're going to hear, her mother's lied about what happened at Neverland. I think, as you said earlier, game over.
But the idea, Howard, though, is this a major or a minor lie? Does it matter if it's a big deal, that is the subject matter that she lied about? Here we're talking about whether or not she told someone that she brought a girlfriend to Neverland. Who cares?
Well, here's the problem. When you lead off the case the way Sneddon has to date, and you don't put on the alleged victim first, you begin to allow the jury to infer the family lies as a matter of course. The mother lies, the sister lies, and then you get to the victim. The problem is, if Michael Jackson really committed the acts he's accused of, the district attorney's office should have, in my opinion, let off with those facts.
Now, that would have been a different beginning, but you can't unring and redo that right now. When we return, we're not going to redo anything either. The issues of credibility, past history, and was wine served in the wine cellar at Neverland? Stay with us.
The reenactments and commentary in this program may contain frank talk of a sexual nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back. On cross-examination, defense attorney Tom Mesereau continues to question the accuser's sister, and he doesn't waste any time getting right to the heart of the state's case. That is, of course, sexual molestation. Here's what the jurors heard according to the courtroom transcripts.
You told the social workers you'd gone to Neverland several times with your brothers, right?
I don't remember. I don't know what was said on that report.
Would you like to see the report to see if it refreshes your recollection?
No.
Don't want to even look at it?
It's not my writing. It's not what I wrote, so it's not going to refresh my memory.
Did you tell the social workers, I've never seen Michael do anything sexually inappropriate with Gavin or Star?
I don't remember what I said.
Would it refresh your recollection if I show you?
No.
That part of the report?
No, it's not.
It just wouldn't.
It wouldn't.
Next, Mesereau asked this witness if her brother ever pointed the finger at anyone else.
Do you recall Gavin ever making any allegations of molestation before?
Gavin never made any to David. What that was was that the detective had asked my mother, "Is there anything you want to get off your chest?" And she said, "Well, one time when she was younger," and I know because I was there when the detective came, but that court proceeding had nothing to do with this. The detective just asked her if you wanted to get anything off your chest.
To your mother?
Yes.
Do you recall Gavin making any allegations before this case?
Never did.
Did you ever hear anything about that?
He never did. He never has.
Do you ever recall, did anyone ever tell you that they had heard Gavin had made an allegation against your mother?
He never has. He never has made any allegations against anybody.
Okay. Do you know if he's ever made them with anyone with the Department of Children and Family Services?
He never has.
You're sure of that?
Yes, I'm sure.
She's sure, she says. David, we should clarify for everyone, is the biological father of this witness, Gavin and Star, the two brothers. One of the things that I sort of shrieked on when she said, as Mesro tries to refresh her recollection, that is, give her a document so she can testify appropriately, she says, "No, it's not going to help me." Ouch.
I've never heard of that. I've never seen that happen. I mean, commonly,
well,
the
it's happened to me, I got to tell you, and it's not fun.
It's never happened to me where the witness, says no.
So what does that mean, Howard? Is this witness being fighting too much?
This witness is a professional victim. It appears the family is a family of professional victims. The inference here, I gather, is that she was sexually molested. And although Gavin never told her Michael did anything sexually inappropriate, that's the inference Mr. Snedden would like us to draw from her testimony. And I think, again, it's a long stretch.
Howard, Howard, that's what Howard said. Ricky, do you agree?
I do. I think that the real problem for this testimony, this is really terrible for the prosecution and great for the defense, more to me than any other testimony, because what they're saying is that they've been through molestation before, they've been through allegations of molestation before, that this whole family is practiced at either being molested and charging people or not being molested and charging people. So, Sean, is the theme
of this particular section for this witness, look, this is my story and I'm sticking to it.
Yes, that's exactly right. And that's not very believable. I would think the jurors would see right through that, as we do.
All right, Howard, talk to us about Michael Jackson, based on your connection, as having previously represented him. How does all this square with your recollection to the extent that you can share with us?
Well, Michael has an affinity for affection. He's affectionate with little kids. You've seen it on tape for years. And I think his conduct, as described by this young lady, is no different than I've observed, and that millions of people have observed over the years.
Sure, but the idea and what the prosecution has to deal with here is the conduct of Michael Jackson's employees versus the conduct of Michael Jackson. And in this segment, the prosecution says the accuser's family, to that end, was held captive. But defense attorney Tom Mesro asks, if that was the case, why didn't they cry out for some help?
Okay. When you were at Jay Jackson's apartment to talk to the three social workers, your mother never complained that you were being falsely imprisoned, did she?
About what?
About anything.
About falsely imprisoned with who?
With Frank, with Vinny, with Dieter, with Konitzer, with Schaffel, anybody.
No, we were kind of scared because the bodyguard was downstairs.
Okay, but you never told any of the three women from the Department of Children and Family Services, we need help, right?
Not that I remember, no.
And your mother certainly never did that, right?
Not that I remember, no.
And you don't recall your mother ever telling Aja, call the police, we're having problems, right?
I remember there would be occasions that she would call Aja. I don't know what they talked about. And I did talk to Aja once when they were at Neverland Ranch.
And you never heard your mother ever call the police, right?
I heard about an occasion, yes, that she tried to.
Okay, when was this?
I don't know when it was, but it was when they were at the ranch.
The woman Aja that this witness references is the then girlfriend of actor Chris Tucker. The accuser's sister says that Michael Jackson let the wine flow at the Neverland Ranch, but the defense isn't buying it.
And you've testified that you saw Michael Jackson pouring wine, correct?
Yes.
You said that Michael Jackson gave you a glass of wine to drink, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember you were interviewed by the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department July 6th, 2003, and asked questions about that?
I know I was asked questions about it, yes.
You were asked by a Santa Barbara sheriff how you knew it was wine, right?
Yes.
And your answer was you knew it was wine because it's a wine cellar and there's nothing else to be drinking in a wine cellar, right?
Yes. There's wine bottles along the left wall.
Never told them you had seen Michael Jackson pouring wine from any bottle, correct?
They never asked me that question, but I did see him. I didn't know I had to say every little detail. I was young back then. I didn't know I had to say every little detail for it to be right. Different things come up.
Did someone tell you that when the defense lawyer asks you questions in court, if you've got a problem, to say, I was very young and I just don't remember?
No, I have no way of knowing because it was years ago. I was very young.
Well, did you ever use that stock phrase in answering any of the prosecutor's questions?
I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't know.
Now, nobody told you that when in trouble or when in doubt, that's what you say?
Nobody told me what to say. When I say it, it's from me.
All right, folks, come on. I was very young, and let's just skip over the is this a stock answer, because that sort of speaks for itself. She says it many times, but this was only 2 years ago, folks. These allegations stem from mid-February through March of 2003. This is 2005.
I'm going to tell you something. This testimony was not as bad as some of the other testimony, in my opinion.
Why?
First of all, you get the feeling that Mesereau's beginning to beat up on this girl and take advantage of it, and that could offend the jurors. Secondly, she said something that bothers me every time a witness says it, and it is, I didn't know I had to say every little detail. And that was the first breath of credibility, in my opinion, that you've seen from this witness.
Sean, you buy that? Because I've experienced that in the courtroom, as I'm sure you have, especially when you're dealing with, well, let's say unsophisticated witnesses. Witnesses, they're not attorneys. They're just answering questions as you would in a normal conversation. But as you and I all know, these interviews aren't normal conversations, Sean.
No, they're not normal conversations. And what I think is interesting, too, about Asia, or however we pronounce to Aja, Chris Tucker's girlfriend, what we're not getting here is also, these are, as you said, unsophisticated, regular people.
Yeah.
And here they are surrounded by Chris Tucker, his girlfriend. They're flying in Chris Tucker's private plane. They've got Michael Jackson's bodyguards in limos or Jaguars coming up behind them. And I think that we need to remember that as well. These people are very impressed, I would have to say, by all that's going on around them, and that's not necessarily coming through.
Indeed, and are they affected by all of the glamour and glitz and high-profile personalities? And isn't it plausible that even though they felt like they were in danger, they were just too scared to say anything at that time? And still ahead, hold that thought, Howard, still ahead, more tough questions from Howard toward me and for the sister of this accuser. Stay with us.
The reenactments and commentary in this program may contain frank talk of a sexual nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back. Defense attorney Tom Mesereau presses on, putting the question squarely before these jurors. Does the accuser's family only tell the truth when it suits them? Here's what the jurors heard according to the courtroom transcripts.
Do you remember your mother told the 3 social workers from the Los Angeles Department of Children and Family Services that she's always at the main residence?
Yeah.
Remember, she told those workers that she's there all times of day?
Yeah.
Do you think your mother was lying?
Yes.
Do you think your mother lied throughout that interview?
Somewhat. I don't know. But I know those comments can't be true.
And that was the day you lied about bringing girlfriends to Neverland, right?
Yeah.
And you're telling this jury that you've never brought any girlfriend to Neverland.
No.
But you told it to the Los Angeles Department of Children and Family Services?
Yes, I did.
Did you discuss with your mother ahead of time that you were going to tell those social workers that you bring your girlfriend to Neverland?
Not that I remember, no.
You don't remember ever talking to your mom about what you were going to say?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay. Were you in the room when your mother told her lies to the social workers?
I don't know if it was all lies. I don't know. I don't remember what was said.
But you remember some of them were lies, correct?
Yeah, I remember. When you tell me certain things, I do remember.
All right, Howard Weitzman, a moment ago, you kind of surprised me. I didn't fall out of my chair, but I was about to, that Tom Mesereau may be perceived as beating up on this witness. You still, after this, share that opinion?
Well, yes.
Really?
But You got to be very careful with a young witness like this. Clearly for her, she's on stage. You know, Sean said something earlier that rang a bell for me. This is their day in the sun, this family's day in the sun. And they want to be front and center. This young lady is one of them. So Tom Mesereau clearly has a young lady that lies. He has to be careful how he gets that point across.
Yeah, that's true. That's
so
true.
that the jurors don't have any
Absolutely.
sympathy.
Sean, go ahead. Sean, then
so
Ricky.
really, it begs the question why Tom Sneddon didn't bring this stuff out himself. I don't get
That
it.
was my thought, Ricky.
Well, I think that's correct because we always want to put it out there during direct.
Take
but what
the
you
thunder away
wind
from
up
the other
with,
side.
this is a great day for Tom Mesereau. There is no doubt about it. Therefore, a great day for Michael Jackson. You have a young girl who not only says she lied, but she basically is saying her whole family lied.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like, well, it was okay.
Exactly. Now, I want to get into this issue because I do think it is of some merit. Little lie, big lie, significant or not, does that make a big deal? But so I don't run out of time. Let's get to the scorecard. Shaw, let me start with you. We saw a week of testimony. This rounding up that week. How's the trial going?
If you lie in small things, you'll lie in big
Sounds
things.
like my grandma.
Oh,
Yes, indeed. Howard Weissman.
That's right.
I agree. And more so, she has indicated she lies, her mother lies, and the inference is others lie, and they don't even do it together. They manage to do it all separately.
All right. Ricky?
Great week for Tom Mesereau because he got to get to the daughter and obviously is going to get to the two brothers. But remember this, as I continue to say, it is early. They loved Mark Garagos in the early days of Scott Peterson.
Yes,
Let's not forget.
Indeed. Let's not forget. Well, unfortunately, that's it for us for today. Be sure to watch our exclusive Michael Jackson trial coverage every night, weeknights, 7:30 and 9 p.m. right here on E. See you tomorrow. That was good, guys.